cinematography is about using light to paint, right? Cinematography, photography, right? It's about painting image with the use of what? Light. You see, all we do in our film classes, watch out, they are just expanding on the basic elements of film. So when we say we are into photography, we are learning cinematography, all we are doing there is to learn how to paint with light. Meaning you put light here, you put another one there, you put another one there, then you create an image that you desire. You are always manipulating light by setting it up to suit what you want. On that set, you are making a film, right? The cinematographer is looking at the light, looking at the frame, looking at the camera framing, the type of shot. That's what he's concerned with. He's not looking at how you deliver the line, whether you got it. The director is the one looking at everything. There is artistic director, there is the main overall director, if you call it, if you like. But the cinematographer, whose job is to paint an image, you just tell the cinematographer, I need this man to have hard lighting. I need this man to have light this way and a bit dark this way. That's his problem. So he is trying to put on the light to give you that image. So to achieve that, you need to understand, if you on your torchlight at night in the open and press it, immediately you just put it on, where does it go to? Where you point it at. You can't point it towards a wall now and it will move right or left. The place you point the torchlight on, that's where the light will hit. So light travels on a straight line unless there is any obstruction. Today we'll be discussing about properties of light in continuation with our class on lighting for film, lighting in film, or lighting for film. So we continue from where we stopped to discuss properties of light. To discuss properties of light. Now, somebody will say, why are we studying properties of light when we are in arts? Talking about film art. We are not in sciences, we are not in physics. We need to discuss it because if you understand how light works, you will be in a better position to use the light. If you understand how light works, you will find it easier to use the light in lighting your set, lighting for film. So we need to learn properties. What do we mean by properties here? Properties of light. You know, when you hear properties, as if it is the property in your house, fridge, fan, TV set. No, that's not the meaning. What is the meaning of properties when we say properties of light? Simply put, they are talking about the features, how light behaves. How light behaves. How light do what? Properties of light. It's talking about how light behaves. Your features. If they mention Prince now in this class, say Prince, that one can never answer call. That one can never come to class. That one, he doesn't have your time. Now it becomes his features, his mannerism. He is known for that. Now we want to study light and see the properties. What is it known for? That's what we mean by property. What is it known for? Features. What are those things that are peculiar to light? So that when you are lighting, you will know that light behaves this way. Light behaves this way. Basically, we know that cinematography is about using light to paint, right? Cinematography, photography, right? It's about painting image with the use of what? Light. You see, all we do in our film classes, watch out, they are just expanding on the basic elements of film. So when we say we are into photography, we are learning cinematography, all we are doing there is to learn how to paint with light. Meaning you put light here, you put another one there, you put another one there, then you create an image that you desire. You create an image that you desire. So it is about painting with light. Why a painter on canvas will just dip his brush inside his color and begin to paint on the canvas. For you, a cinematographer, you are always manipulating light by setting it up to suit what you want. Remember, in terms of photography and cinematography, the major concern is what the light sees and how the camera captures it. That's why most cinematographers are not looking after your acting and delivery. It's not their main concern. On that set, you are making a film, right? The cinematographer is looking at the light, looking at the frame, looking at the camera framing, the type of shot. That's what he's concerned with. He's not looking at how you deliver the line, whether you got it. The director is the one looking at everything. There is artistic director, there is the main overall director, if you call it, if you like. But the cinematographer, whose job is to paint an image, you just tell the cinematographer, I need this man to have hard lighting. I need this man to have light this way and a bit dark this way. That's his problem. So he is trying to put on the light to give you that image. So to achieve that, you need to understand how light works. Number one property, light travels in a straight line. Light travels in what? A straight line. Any light you see, any light you see must have been traveling from a point to a point. Light doesn't get distorted. Think of any ray of light, for example, from a torchlight. From a torchlight, if you on your torchlight at night in the open and press it, immediately you just put it on, where does it go to? Where you point it at. You can't point it towards a wall now and it will move right or left. The place you point the torchlight on, that's where the light will hit. So light travels on a straight line unless there is any obstruction. So if you are making a film and you are lighting your set, you are lighting the actor, you don't expect light that you are pointing towards a direction to automatically come and reflect on another person behind the light, because it's a main property of light that light travels on what? Straight line. If you come to the open in the dark and you point a light or a lantern that is directional, you point it. I'm not talking of the kerosene lantern that could be everywhere. Even at that, it still travels on a straight line. If you point your Fresnel, your torchlight to a direction, you discover that the light will travel on that same line until it can no longer get to its destination, but it will keep going. For example, you point light to your light towards a space of 500 meters. Because it's long and the intensity of that light might not be able to get there, but it will travel like that if it's at night till it diminishes. So on a film set, because everything we all these properties will be using film to explain it. So we'll be using situations in film to explain it. So if you want to light a character at night and you point the light at him, you now know that that light you're pointing at him, if the character is either standing or seated, that light will travel from wherever you position the light to the subject, that's the character, and down to the floor. So be ready to see the light down on the floor. Hello? So if you can't say why is the light showing on the floor, I want it on the character. No, you pointed it down. The light will travel straight. It will not stop halfway. Hello? So light travels on a straight line unless there is an obstruction. Unless there is an obstruction. Light travels on a straight line. unless there is an obstruction. Without an obstruction, light cannot stop. Light cannot change direction. So when you are lighting in film, just know that the light must go on a straight line. And you don't expect to put on light and put a character elsewhere. Number two, another property of light is that light reflection. Another property of light is reflection. Reflection. Now, for those of you who must have made some films with me, sometimes we get to a place, a room to shoot, I will bounce the light on the ceiling. I will bounce the light on the ceiling. I have shown you reflector, haven't I? Good. Now, the reflector I show you is a male reflector, but it could be on different sizes. And that doesn't mean that it's only the reflector you buy from stores that you can use as reflector. You can find already made material where you are making your film reflective, so you use them. Now, let's explain reflection. Reflection means that light hits an object or a surface and rebounces back. If light hits a surface, it does what? It bounces back. If light hits a surface, it bounces what? Back. Now let's explain reflection when we are making a film, either indoor scene or outdoor. When we are making a film indoor, sometimes we look at the ceiling and see that it's white, and you know that a white surface is likely reflective than a dark surface. True of us? Good. So any surface that is white or gravitating towards a brighter color has the ability to reflect than colors that are dark. Meaning, if you have white ceiling like we have here in this room now, if you bounce light there, it will reflect back. So sometimes if you don't want to point light directly on the actor, especially when you have only 1 point light or 2 point light, and you see that it will create shadows or issues you cannot handle, or it is too harsh on the actor, you now raise your light up and bounce it on the surface, that's the ceiling, and the light back will reflect back on the actor you are about to record, and you discover that everywhere will be evenly lit because it's coming from up. It's as if you are outside now and the sun is on your head, so it will distribute the light within the room. So whenever you see people on film set do that, they are applying the property of light known as what? Reflection. And I say that reflection is simply means that light can bounce back when it hits on what? Yes, good. Why I am saying brighter surface is that when you hit it on green, dark surface, deep blue, all those kind of things, you will not see anything. And now, good. And now, when we come on film set or you meet photographers snapping, sometimes you see them use that same reflector on the character they are snapping, right? Or the character they are recording. What they are simply doing is that the light that was coming facing the camera or from another source, it bounces on that reflector. What they do now is to now direct it. For example, this paper I'm holding, assuming it is a reflector, right? Good. Now when the light bounces on put up this light. Put up this. So when the light bounces on this surface I'm holding, you now discover that you can now direct it. You can now direct it to where you want to. So if you bounce light on a surface, yeah, if you bounce light on a subject or on a surface, now you can now redirect it. But for light, it bounces back from the source. That's why if you flash a torchlight on a reflective material, it will reflect back to where the torchlight is coming from. Hello. So the light will go back to where the torchlight is coming from. So we say that reflection means that light bounces back when it hits a reflective what surface. When it hits a surface, it bounces back. Are we together? Now, we say that another property of light is that light refraction. The first one was what? The second one was reflection. Number three now is what? Refraction. Refraction. What is refraction? What is refraction? Any attempts? What is refraction? Any idea? Uh-huh. Any idea? What is refraction? Okay, refraction is opposite of reflection. In reflection, we said that if light bounces on the surface, it bounces back, right? It bounces back to the source, right? But in refraction, light passes through that surface, that object. When light hits a particular object, it can pass through. Now, let's explain. If you put a glass in front of light, glass, right, a piece of glass in front of light, the light will refract. Refract means that the light will pass through, penetrate. It will pass through that now. So it depends on the object. If it is for reflection, it will hit where it cannot pass through, it will come back. But for refraction, it will pass through. Let's bring it down to filmmaking. When we are making a film, I showed you gel. Good. That gel is a transparent object. You remember gel now? Good. Now it looks like a nylon, kind of like a thick nylon. Now the idea is actually to to change either the color of the light or to allow that light to pass through it to reduce the harshness. Now, such materials causes refraction. It passes through. Another common way to do the experiment is to get a glass cup, bring a torchlight, right? Even your handset has torchlight, right? Use your handset on the torchlight and place it on that glass cup. You will see that that glass cup will that light will try to pass through that glass. Even though the intensity might be distorted, things will change. The glass color might change the color of light, but you see that the light will pass through. That is called what? Refraction. So when light hits a transparent object and passes through it, that is what? Refraction. Unlike reflection, where the light hits that surface and bounces back to the source. In refraction, light hits that object and passes, meaning it continues. Are we together? First one, it travels on a straight line. Second one, it can reflect, reflection, meaning it hits an object and reflects. And I have given example when we make films, we bounce light on the wall, it reflects back to the room. Sometimes we can even bounce it on a white object in that room. Imagine that you are making your film in a room and there is a wardrobe that is white, right? Now, beside the wardrobe is a character, and you want to go and put light, a light stand beside that character where the wardrobe is. Now, no need to put it, just take a distance, bounce the light on that white wardrobe, it will reflect back. That could serve as your backlight or your field light. So, any way you do it, sometimes remember the dimensions of light we studied the other day. You might not need to go there, you might reflect on an object that is there, it will bounce back. You might not need to take the light stand, the lantern, to place behind that actor. Sometimes you reflect it on another object, it goes behind, and your set is lit. Are we together? Good. Now, another property of light is that light absorbs. Absorption. Absorption. As absorption. 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 Now, this property says that if light hits a surface, the light could be absorbed by that surface. That when light rays hits a surface, that surface could absorb the what? The light rays. I have already said it when I was trying to explain reflection and refraction. Now, let's look at subsurfaces. If you have a black curtain, if you bounce light on that black curtain, you discover that because it's not a reflective material, rather than hit the light, reflect it back to you, it will do what? It will absorb it. Absorb. It will absorb it. It will drain it. To use a street language, it will swallow it. You will not see the fate of the light. It will be as if you didn't put the intensity of light because it absorbs. Just change it with a reflective material, you will see what the light will do back on you. So if you want to use the law of reflection on an actor, where you will bounce light and it will hit back on the actor on a film set, if you put black as the surface, right, you will be surprised that on the actor you are not seeing anything. On the actor you are not seeing anything because it's not reflective and it's not refractive either. Because if that place is refractive, the light will pass where you want it. If it is reflective, it will bounce back. Now, because it is absorbable, it will just absorb the light. It's like eating up. You are feeding the light that you can't see the effect. It will just be taken. So you might be forced to change either the surface or you now change your lighting pattern by lighting directly on the actor. Are we together? Good. So another property of light is that it can absorb what you are giving. The light you are feeding it with, the intensity of light, it will be absorbing. It will be absorbing it. If it is a surface that doesn't reflect, no matter what you do, you cannot. You cannot get any. Okay, shall we proceed? Another one is that light, another property of light is that it's transmissible. Transmission. Transmit. Transmission. 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 What does it mean? Any idea? What does it mean? Hmm? What does it mean when we say that light is transmissible? It can transmit. Mix.
Power,
Speak up, speak up.
like power of something, transmits, like pass the source.
Pass the source. Yes. Yes.
or interchange.
Interchange. Not exactly. Mhm. I know you used to hear about transmission in vehicles, right? Yes. Transmission fluid, transmission oil, right? Mhm. Now, anything that has to do with let's break the word transmission now. Let's break it into two. The first one is what? Trans. Trans is about movement. It can move. Transportation, transport, right? Anything about transport, whether by air, land, or sea, is about movement of people and goods from one place to another. Now, transmission of light means that you can actually take light, ray of light, you can transmit it from here to another place. Meaning you can one transmit the current and you can as well transmit the ray. We are talking about the ray of light mostly. You can transmit it by creating an object that will make that light to move to another place. Let me give you a typical example. If you check most lanterns we use for films or torchlight, real torchlight, if you check real torchlight, you discover that light, those torchlights travels far because they have created something like a cone, right? Now, the narrower and longer that cone is, the farther the light can travel. Go and check real torchlight. I'm not talking of your phone torchlight. Eh? If you check it, you discover that there is something like a cone, and that cone is reflective. The deeper, the narrower that cone is, it will determine how far the light will travel. So if you do your hand like this, the light will only spray within here. But if you do your hand like this and point a ray of light through here, you discover because of the deepness of the hand you have curved, it will determine how far and how pointed the ray of light will be. Another example, use a paper, fold it, right, and put a torchlight through it. What do you see? The light will go far, right? But if you leave it open, that light that went far will spray, will splash, will spill. So light can be transmitted. It can be transmitted. That's why if I point a lantern towards you, and before it gets to you, I create a reflective object and reflect it on this man. So I have transmitted. Are we together? So a situation where I have light coming this way, right? And on getting here, this is the ray of light, because we have agreed it works, it travels on a straight line. Now I now create a reflector here. Now that reflector, this light bounces on this reflector, and the reflector is pointing here. Now the person who is enjoying this ray of light will now be the object here. Are we together? Does it make any sense?
Yes, sir.
Good. So properties of light, I don't just want you to cram it, know it. I want you to practicalize it. Find a way of practicalizing it. From dimensions of light we studied the other day to properties of light. These properties of light are the things you need to know at the background of your mind as a filmmaker, right? As a filmmaker, you know them at the background of, in fact, you know them at your fingertips. That's how, for example, if you want to shoot a day scene in the night, right? And this day scene is inside a house, and you will need to pan your camera and get a window to show that it is day. How do you do that? You now look at the window, go outside in that night. Remember, you are shooting day, right? Good. Now you use a white object, maybe textile material, white, plain, white, wider than the window you are recording in, even double of it. So you place it far from the window, right? When you do that, beside that white object, you point light on it. Far from the object, beside, you point light, lanterns on it. What it means is that in the house, if they are acting and somebody passes, crosses, the camera will capture day instead of night. But if you don't do that, what the camera will be captured is infinity, darkness. And if you cannot go and light infinity, so you create and see this is a wall now, or a fence, or an object in that house. So when somebody passes by the window, the camera will capture outside as lit, but the lantern will never be in that shot. Now, what law has been applied on that? What property of light has been applied with what I just explained now?
Refraction. That white object.
Refraction.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We use reflection as one that passes through the surface, that white surface that we're talking about.
Is it refraction? Remember
I think it's two.
how? Explain.
For me, it's reflection because
It's
reflection.
Refraction. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Because reflection says when you light on the white goods or you light on the surface, it penetrate on the other side. So if you press the curtain and you light the lantern from the other side, it will penetrate from the window to the inside, so that you can also the person somebody that it is yeah, is inside can also see outside.
But I didn't say that the light was placed behind that white object. I say beside and pointed to the object. Beside like this and pointed. Imagine this is the white object, right? It's placed here, pointed to this place. Another one placed here. But and the house where they're filming is here, right? The is here. No, this is the house, right? This is the window, and now outside is where this textile material is. And I said you can put light here and point here, put light here and point here.
Be reflected.
Reflection, because the idea is that the light will not be in short, but it's reflecting here to create day. Good, to create day. I didn't say you put it here and pierces through. No. Because if you put it directly behind, it will be showing, the lanterns will be showing that the source of light, yes, will be captured. And the aim is defeated. So the aim is to create day, so that viewers of that film will not know that it is what? Day. It's night, sorry. To create day during night. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's quickly look at the other one I promised you, which is lighting special effects, making special effects through lighting. Remember, light is a very strong filmic object. It's a very strong tool in telling your story. Light is a very strong tool in telling your story. So, how do we achieve some effects using light? Number one, we have low profile lighting. Then we have high profile lighting. We will explain with examples. Now, low profile lighting is when the light is placed below the actor, the subject. The source of light is coming from under the character. Imagine that you are sitting on your bed in a dark room, right? And you are with your handset, right? Or laptop or something. Now, there is no light in that room. The only source of light for this character to be illuminated is just that handset he's using. Now, in that case, you are not expected to reveal the room all you just need to do is what? The handset. Now, and remember, sometimes the intensity of light from handset might be so small that we cannot really see the actor, right? Good. And in this scene, the script says somebody walks in. Before she could raise her face to look at the person points a gun at her or squeezes her neck and say, bring out the money. Now, the only source of light is the phone. Now, imagine you enhancing that source of light. What picture will it create when viewers are looking at you? It will create the a picture of fear, because she cannot see beyond her immediate spot, right? She cannot see her immediate spot. Now, but somebody is in the dark talking to her, pointing gun at her or squeezing her neck. So when you do such profile lighting, you are creating the fate of a terrorized human being, because she will be struggling. Who is that? Who is that? Maybe calling the names of people she thinks is trying to play prank. Now, at that moment, without saying anything, without writing it, without even hearing dialogue, just by seeing such pictures, such lighting, you are telling your viewers that this person is in trouble. Low profile lighting. So we now discover that where you put our light and the effect it creates can help you tell your story. The other one, high profile, where you suspend light up. Have you seen in mostly Hollywood films where they're doing interrogation? Though some Nollywood films can now do boast of that, they can showcase that too.
Yes, sir.
They do showcase it good. Now, if you put that light up there and the light is within a space, it didn't spill to the entire room as if we have come for a naming ceremony, everywhere is lit and bright. No, the light, you can see that the light is just within a space in that room,
Just on that table.
on that table, good. While the other areas, the light is just here, the light is just here, while these other areas are not as lit as here. So we can see that the light is spotting the characters in the film. What does it tell you?
High profile.
Hmm?
High profile. Like
Speak up.
high profile like
High profile. No, that's the high profile lighting, like place it on a high angle. I say, what does that thing mean? What does putting the light, what picture, what's the meaning of the picture it creates when you see it in films?
maybe that person under investigation.
Yes, now it simply means that, for the person being investigated, the suspect, it means that you have been confined. Remember, this is a room, right? They are not showing us the entire room. It signifies somebody has been confined. Even your life has been confined. It's either you say the truth, or you can even, yes, your life can, from there. So you have been confined. It's because as the person cannot even see the wall brightly of where he is. The person cannot see the wall of where he is very well. He has been confined to a certain place, certain environment, and not just the room, now confined to a spot. Meaning you have an option to say the truth and regain your freedom. You don't have your freedom again. Okay. Number three, let's look at another special effect, silhouette. Silhouette. Now, I have talked about silhouette before, where the light is behind the subject. The source of light is behind the subject, meaning the subject. When we say subject, of course, subject is talking about the character for we filmmakers. But subject is the general name, because the subject could be inanimate being, right? When you place this pen now in front of the source of light, what you will be recording will be a silhouette, because the background is lit while the front of it is dark. Sometimes we use it to achieve the effect of ghosts. You say, as I was there, the ghost just passed by the window. Now, remember, the window outside was lit. It's night, oh, the veranda is lit, but you make the character playing the ghost pass by the window. So the person inside that room cannot see the face of that character that passed, because the character that passed by the window, that's the ghost now, can only be seen as a dark image where you cannot see his face. Now imagine three-dimensional lighting. You off the key light, off the fill light, and leave the backlight. What you will see is a silhouette, a situation where the light behind the light is from the back of the character, while there is no key light. The front of that character is not lit. So you use lighting, you use these properties of lighting to achieve all these special effects. And you remember that wherever you place your lantern or your source of light determines the result you will get. It might not be the light itself you are using, it is how you place them will determine the result you will get. It might not be whether the light is natural or artificial, but it is your knowledge of where you place the light that will determine the result you will get. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Now, before we end, let's talk about lighting the actor versus lighting the space. Now, the actor acts within a space, right? Even on stage, the actor acts within a given space. And this space we are talking of now for our film is the locale where the scene is meant to take place. It could be a bedroom, a sitting room, front of compound, shopping mall. Now, if you come to a shopping mall, let's use example of a shopping mall. A thief burgled into a shopping mall at night, right? At the close of work, they have closed for the day. A thief burgled into a shopping mall, and the thief is beginning to pick things now from different counters. Remember that this shopping mall is closed down. At that point, your target is to light the character and not the space. Remember, a thief cannot go to a shopping mall and look for the switch and switch on all the line, switch on all the lights in that room. A thief, you burgled 2 a.m. You now go to a shopping mall, you switch on all the lights, say, I want to see very well what I want to steal. Is it possible? No. Because the light, there might be light in that shopping mall, but they might be very dim. Right? Good. They can't just leave the light on, they might be very dim. Now, at that moment, the target of the filmmaker is to light the what? The actor. Very good. So you will look for a way to spotlight. That is how the idea of spotlight comes about. Spotlight is meant to spot somebody amidst other people or amidst other props, amidst the environment, to spot that person. So if you want to shoot how Mr. Jones and wife went out shopping, carrying their baby on a cart from counter to counter, you might need to light the entire shopping mall. Contrast it to lighting a thief by 2 a.m. You might need to do what? Light the what? The actor. Does it make a difference? Do you understand? So there are scenes where the actor is more important than the entire set, because that is where you want to call the attention of your viewers. You use light to call the attention of your viewers. Again, look at a special effect where a sniper has climbed a high rising building, right? Now, the place is lit. There is an event, but there is somebody they want to bring down, right? The sniper. Now, at that moment, you need an effect of the lens of that sniper. Remember, they need to monitor before they pull the trigger, right? Good. So, at that moment, you usually see something. What the filmmaker is trying to do is to spotlight the person they want to target, the target of the sniper. It might not, is a kind of spotlighting the target. So you see that spotlight moving, following the target. At a point, the sniper pulls the what? That is the way you use light to spotlight. Group of young people went for a party. After the party, they are drunk. Everybody is drunk, tired. Some people fall asleep at the party hall, and the lights are off. Right? The lights are off. Now, one funny guy gets up to do funny things on another guy. How do you capture the place? What is your target in this scene? Is it to light the entire party hall when this guy wants to do this funny thing, or to light this guy and where he is doing the funny thing?
Let's together.
Good. To light that actor. The interest here is not the party, because the scene can start with the party just 30 seconds into light up. They are partying, dancing, drinking, all of a sudden you now see people fall asleep. So that's the target. At that point, your aim is not to put on lights in the party hall and show everybody. No, you want to show your principal characters. Narrow down. So the idea of lighting the actor is to spotlight, to call attention of your viewers on your interest.
Okay, sorry, sir. I have a question.
Please do.
That that instance that you gave that you
Speak up.
someone okay, that instance you gave earlier of someone bumping into a shopping mall.
Mm.
In that scene, okay, can someone just let the hand picking the stuff and not the act? Or maybe after shooting snapping that capturing that scene where the person will be picking with different hands, not showing the at all. Okay, maybe can someone capture the guy going out or coming in? I don't know if you understand me. Not now like this. I'm not my main focus is not on the acting. It's on the things that is
Picking. It depends on you, the filmmaker. You are the filmmaker, or you are the director. Depends. If you are the director, you want what you know what you want to show. For example, you might decide to just capture the hand,
Maybe put the camera on the actor's
a hand, and capture the hand alone. And again, you might, in that same story, during investigation, you might decide to reveal the character, right? The character might be hooded, right? But somehow, when he was preparing to come, you recorded it, you filmed it. But in course of investigation, you now reveal who did it. And it happens that it is somebody that used to sell, a salesman in that shop. So it depends on what the filmmaker wants to show and how he decides to tell his story. It's possible.
Okay, that's lighting the. Okay, that's lighting the space, not the actor.
Which one?
No, we are explaining this lighting the actor and lighting the space.
Yes.
I'm not asking that. So now this one, the one I said is lighting the space and not the actor. Right.
No, it's the
It's
actor.
liking the actor.
You said that
When you are
it's
capturing, it's the actor that is. He even gave a good example where you can place ordinary torchlights, tie it on the actor's head. Remember, you want to capture only his hand now. It's not about a hand. So you put a torchlight on his face, tie it with a band, and now as he is speaking, yes, it's on the torchlight will be on his hand alone. Maybe what we make a dictative to capture this guy is that there is a ring or there is a mark on his finger. That's what you, the storyteller, want to show. So as he's capturing, it's only that mark now. Later, maybe because he's hooded, there is a mark or a ring on his finger. CCTV captured it in the dark, and he is using a torchlight showing his finger. So in the CCTV, they now zoom, now go and investigate that ring. Now discover that the person who has been using that ring is a staff. They now go and scan all the staff using ring and the ring. If it matches, they have caught the thief.
But most now
What
they
is
use,
it?
they use
You see?
tattoos.
Yeah, sometimes tattoo. So they will snap that tattoo, magnify it, make it clearer, and start looking for who has that tattoo. So all the suspects now will be arrested and kept somewhere, individually investigated, be checking. In fact, if you had tattoo on that same finger, you have removed it, and there is they say, when did you remove this tattoo? You say, I removed it last year. They say, no. Are you sure? Where did you remove it? You call. They won't call the people. They will boggle you. Go to that place. Did this person remove tattoo this month or last year? He say, it's this month. When this month? They say they can't remember it is this month. You are a suspect. They will search your phone and know whether you snap picture showing that tattoo. Though you have removed it. You see how investigation will go. Because you use that lighting, that is the loophole that made the investigator to now, have an anchor to investigate further, and you make your film good. So lighting can actually tell your story well.